Hey everybody, this video is on how to interpret the solutions that you get to various algebraic equations. Now up to this point you've had multiple equations and they usually finished with something along the lines of this, x equals 2. Well, if that's your solution to an equation, no matter how complicated, there's only one solution. It's 2. X is equal to 2. Over the course of this video we're going to come upon several situations where you might have one solution, you might have two solutions, you might also have no solutions at all, or you might have an infinite number of solutions where any number will work. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of these. You've been doing this one for a long time. In this situation you might divide by 3, and you wind up with x equals 11. There's one solution, just x equals 11. No surprise there. This one, however, has a little hidden extra solution. Can you think of the number? Just take a minute, pause this if you have to. What number times itself? So x times x equals 9. Is there only one solution, or is there a second? Well, since it's positive 9, there's two numbers that you actually could have for an answer here. X could be equal to 3, or x could be equal to negative 3. So often that's written x is equal to plus or minus 3. There are two solutions there. You might want to store that away for future use. Whenever you see the variable is squared and you're getting a number, that's a quadratic equation. Oftentimes there are going to be two solutions to that. Now sometimes that's not the case. Check out the one below here. Take a minute, pause if you have to. Can you see what that answer might be? Well, if you think about it, and you tried negative 3 times negative 3, well that wouldn't work. We did it above. That gave us 9. And 3 times 3, that'll give us 9. That won't give us negative 9. You might say, well, negative 3 times 3 will give us 9. Well, that's true, but that's not squaring. It's not the number x, that quantity squared. So this answer actually has no solutions. So log it away in the back of your head. If you have something that's squared and your answer is negative, there is no solution. Okay, absolute value is something that comes up quite often when you have a situation where you have a distance, where if you're 4 feet below a target, 4 feet above the target, the distance is still 4. So in these cases you'll often have two possible locations that could be a set distance. This might be give me all the places where something is 4 feet away from where you want it to be. This will have two solutions. X could be equal to negative 4, or x could equal 4. Essentially, this question is saying that the value of x is 4 feet away from 0, or the target. What two numbers are 4 feet away? Well, negative 4 is 4 feet away from 0, and 4 is 4 feet away from 0. So, in an absolute value equation, if you have a positive number, there's going to be two solutions. Now, if it were equal to 0, well, how far away is 0 from 0? Well, 0 is 0 away from 0. The value of x would equal 0. There is one solution to that. This one here, if you have an absolute value equation, you get it simplified and you have it equal to negative 2. This is saying, what is negative 2 feet away from 0? Well, you can have a position of negative 2, but you can't have a distance of negative 2, because distance is always going to be positive. This has no solution. No solution at all. And this one we did earlier, x squared, you square root, x is going to equal plus or minus 5. So try to wrap your head around those. Just think about those for a second. You got to let them sink in. If you have an absolute value and it's a positive number, there's going to be two answers. If you have an absolute value and it's 0, there's only one answer. If you have an absolute value and it's equal to a negative, there are no answers. And again, just quick review, if you square root, there are two answers, the positive and the negative. root. Now these are two of the most commonly misinterpreted equations in terms of first-year algebra. So just take a quick look at them. Go ahead and solve. Solve both of them. Solve the one on the left, solve the one on the right. Copy it down right now, hit pause, and solve them and see what you get. Trust your answer. Don't be surprised if it's something weird. Just write down your answer, then we'll interpret it. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so hopefully on the left side you said x plus x. Well, that's the same as 2x. And 2x is equal to 2x. Then you might say, oh, well, some people prefer to do division here. You could divide by 2 if you wanted to. You get x equals x. Some people might say, hey, take away x from both sides, and you wind up with 0 equals 0. And you might say to yourself, what the heck does that mean, 0 equals 0? Well, what that means is that what you had up here is going to always be equal to what you had up here. And this is called an identity, because what's on the left and what's on the right, they are the same identity. They are equal to each other, and therefore any number will work. There's an infinite number of solutions. If you look at it a little closely, you might say, hey, look, a number plus itself, when is that going to equal 2 times itself? Well, that's always going to work. Now the second one, hopefully you combine your like terms here. You said it was 3x. And over here you got 3x plus 4. Then you might have said, hey, I'll take away 3x. I'll take away 3x. Get rid of those x's, and lo and behold, the x's do disappear, and you have 4 is equal to 0. 4 equals 0. So that should set off a few alarm bells in your head. The last time I checked, 4 was not equal to 0. So this is essentially what's called a false statement. Don't you lose your number instincts here. 4 is never going to be equal to 0. If you get an answer there's a false statement, then there are no solutions. Okay, so a false statement means there's no solutions. Something that's always true, 0 equals 0, is going to be an identity. In other words, there's an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so these are your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 homework problems, and the next slide has one more. Copy them down, please, and solve them to the best of your ability. And when I say solve, give all possible solutions. If it turns out that there are an infinite number of solutions, then you say this is an identity, and there are an infinite number of solutions. If it turns out that it's a false statement, you should say there are no real number solutions. Good luck. Please show all your work. And this is the last problem on tonight's homework. It's about Dana and Lena, and they both have different savings. Please write an equation to describe what's going on here, and simplify your equation, and solve it, and interpret the solution that you get, and give all possible solutions. Thank you, show all your work, and good luck.